Hello, everybody. My name is Anatoly. I'm continuing my series of talks about Berbera, still on the same style. I talk a little bit, show some pictures, small video at the end. Today's talk is driving. I have experience so far, a couple of months of driving, basically every day, maybe several times a day in Berbera and around, so I can start discussing this topic. I'm going to show some videos later on, but I'm not quite ready yet with my YouTube experience and video experience maybe a few weeks time, maybe 1 month or something. So I will get there. When I get there, I will show you some videos as other people show of my driving in Berbera, around Berbera. So I'm sitting in the same place. I'm wearing the Somaliland t-shirt, that Somaliland flag. That's my usual, more or less, position. I'm drinking this beautiful Ethiopian coffee, which I described a couple of times. This house, which I advertised in the last program, in the program number 4, which cost me about 20 times less than I would pay for rent in, I don't know, London or some other big places where I lived. We talked about that in the previous program. Maybe I come back to the discussion maybe later. Okay, now I will start with my slides as I do usually, and then I will show video, and that's it. This program will not be too long. Okay, this is January, end of January. I've been here almost 2 months. Almost every day I was driving, so that's it. Again, self-advertisement of advertisement of previous parts. There were 4 previous parts where I describe myself and what I'm doing here. I don't quite know myself what I'm doing here totally seriously, but life is life. I will talk about that maybe in some other programs when I get some interviews with people, if they will be interested about that. So that was first program was general view. Talked about a little bit of football, but I am going to make short program about football next, because there is a big football Somaliland championship is going on, and lots of emotions. I will talk a little bit about that. I'm not a big specialist in football. I like football and watch football sometimes, but I've been to several games. I will talk a little bit in a separate program, which will be probably next. Then I talked about people. I will talk more, of course, about people, especially when I will be ready to manage interviews with the proper equipment. Do that with few people. I talked about Berbera hot spring. I talked my favorite place, I already mentioned many times, is Berbera beach. Animals, I did a little bit of discussion, but I will do more. I already have more discussions about animals, not about flies, which are everywhere, but about proper animals. And cost of life, which will need obviously some other discussions, and how people survive here. But I think I will do that after I take some interviews with people. Okay, driving. I found that I'll show you some photos. You can get some impression about that driving in Berbera is extremely safe. So in fact, I haven't seen a single seriously dangerous situation I haven't been involved myself in any kind of situation where I saw I'm going to collide with someone, run over someone. So, okay, in the first week or so, it was a little bit tensed for me, but now I drive with one hand, and okay, it's very, very safe. It's a very strange conclusion from my talk, but because the talk is we'll look at different sides. So reasons. So this is how I formulate the reasons why I believe that driving in Berbera is very safe. The main reason is there are several main reasons. Okay, wide and apparently well-maintained roads. It's all many roads are hard surface like asphalt, but the natural soil here is hard, so it's very easy to make proper roads. So I saw how they make roads in a few weeks in a big road, and put some proper hard surface asphalt, and it stays well. I mean, okay, it's January now. It's the coolest time, end of January. Coolest time, but it will be 27, 28 in the afternoon. It was about 26. I talked about that. In summer, it will be 35, not much more. But it looks it's a good temperature for roads and cars. So in the garages, and I talked because we brought our car. We mentioned that in the garages, they said that all the cars people bring from Europe are in awful condition, like ours, because it's okay. But weather conditions, I don't know, salt in the winter, some other things, and they all rotten. Okay, second reason, light traffic. So basically, wide roads, well maintained, not many holes. That means well maintained. I think it's better maintained many roads than in Cardiff. Okay, another discussion when I was 15 years ago in Somaliland, the roads were non-existent in the Berbera as well. So it was awful, awful. Now it's roads are fine. I mean, and road which connects Hargeisa, Berbera, Gulfo is good. It was repaired a few months ago. Okay, there is one bridge fell because it was not probably in between in 1/3 distance from Hargeisa, I think, approximately to Berbera. So there's always way around that, and there are some issues with roads, but overall roads are good. I'll talk about speed later. Roads are half empty, maybe 90% empty, 80% empty. Okay, these two reasons are probably the main ones. Another reason is not very, very few bicycles, because it's not very clear what to do with bicycles, because first it's hot in summer, second it's distances are not long. Taxis are very cheap. I don't know, not many people can make bicycles. I think I spelled it wrong. Strangely enough, that the cars are, there is no technical control, but the cars look okay. They look, I mean, they're not that many new and Porsche cars, but there are no Porsche cars, of course, no Ferraris, but lots of 4x4. We have 4x4, but it's 17 years old. Lots of cars. They look okay. I will show some pictures. And good reason is that there is no drink driving, because there are no alcohol here. So people behave well. So why people behave well on the road? Because there are no traffic jams, because of the light traffic, and the roads are wide. So people are relaxed. They drive very badly, but they are kind of relaxed, and they're not nervous, and they are not drunk. So despite they drive badly, as I will describe next, there is no danger. Okay, that was positive parts. That was good news. Now bad news. There are many traffic rules, but I didn't see many people who follow the rules. Okay. Different rules. Okay, I will talk about rules, different violations of the rules. So one of the rules. So it's this is not about people; it's about system, and I don't understand that. I looked at AI, all this ChatGPT style, and other explanations of what's happening here. In fact, what's happening here, many in Wikipedia and AI, they give lots of contradictory or completely wrong information, in fact. Try to get population size in Berbera or Burho, for example, from Wikipedia. So the range is in Burho from 300,000 to 750,000. In Berbera, it's also twice or three times, plus minus. But okay, it's not clear what is Berbera, what is not Berbera. Okay. There are some formal boundaries in Berbera area, of course, but the same about rules. The websites and all this ChatGPT, they say about rules and strict rules, but there are no strict rules here. And one of the things which I don't understand is that it's a left-hand driving like in mainline Europe or United States, but in fact 90% of cars, that's I don't know the real number, but that's from ChatGPT. 90% of cars they have driver seat on the wrong side, like in the UK, and ChatGPT explains it with some obscure reason, which is very strange. Most cars are imported from Japan, where they're cheaper or something like that, which for me doesn't look like you can get 90% for that. There was originally right-hand driving, like in UK, because Somaliland was UK British colony, but in 61st, I guess, because when Somaliland joined Somalia, the other part of Somalia, then they changed the right-hand driving to left-hand driving. Then the cars were still like in the UK. Then they made in 2013 they made a law which banned import of cars with UK type cars with a right-hand driving seat to prevent this problem. Nobody followed that. Then they made another law prohibiting importing cars with a wrong place for the driver. Before yesterday, I didn't know about that. I only knew that. I learned that yesterday, but we imported car a few months ago from the UK with, of course, with like normal car here, but with the wrong driver seat position. But we never heard that. Nobody told us anything in the port. Nobody said anything. I never heard of this law, but there is a law again banning imports. So there are taxes. The taxes are reasonably high for importing cars, but it's still, I don't know, for any car or some cars. So I talked to taxi drivers. They take their taxis mostly from United Arab Emirates or Saudis. United Arab Emirates mostly, because that's a main country where they have good relations. But I don't know why 90% of cars have the seats. But it looks like that because most cars, they have a driver seat on the wrong side. It's a puzzle to me for the moment. No marking on 99% of roads. And it looks like the cars have no idea which side they need to follow. So it's They drive both sides at their wheel. They follow if there are no cars, but if they need to, if they want, they can go that side. So, there are several one-way roads, but there are two reasons why it's difficult to realize that you are on one of them. So reason number one, there are no signs that it's a one-way traffic road. I try to ask people, I try to find the signs, so there are no signs, but they told me, oh, but everybody knows it's a one-way road. And the second reason why it's difficult to find that to realize that it's one-way road is that there are many cars going the other way. So you really don't know. So sometimes I think these one-way roads, because sometimes the traffic police goes to these roads and takes penalties, penalize people for driving. Not okay. People can quite often convince police, okay, not to penalize them, or they give them very small penalty, or I was never penalized, but I was in a taxi he wasn't penalized, and another guy in the first couple of days he was driving us, and he didn't have documents. His car was not taxed. He still paid only $5, which I paid, of course. I don't know if the policeman gave him documents about that, but there is police on the road from time to time somewhere. The problem with policemen is that they're either too friendly or too unfriendly. Not unfriendly, but unfriendly is the wrong word. So friendly, okay, I already told my relations with police. I don't know if traffic police is included. I still haven't learned that. In the general police, some policemen a couple of times stopped me and they said, "Oh, hello, Somali boy," and blah blah blah, but just to talk to me. And nobody ever checked my documents. I mean, I have British driving license, but it should be valid here for at least 3 months. But apparently, I was told that changing it to Somaliland driving license is not difficult. I mean, to get which is in my plans to do that. Well, they just stopped me to talk. Oh, hello, what's etc. etc. Some other people, they stop. They never check documents because we have this tax paid stick on the window, so it's very clear that we paid the tax, road tax, which is for 3-liter engine Toyota Hilux, very old diesel. It's I don't know, it's $30, I think, or something per year. Some big money for local people. Okay, money discussion was previous one. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe no. Maybe it's $50, but it's still negligible. Yeah, but some policemen stopped just to asking not penalties, but just asking if I can give them some money to contribute towards the chat in the evening. Chat is their purpose. They don't hide the reasons. They say, "Oh, we need some chat money." If you give them $2-3, they're fine. They're happy. Maybe not very happy. Happy. Situation much improved for 15 years, because 15 years ago that was mandatory, and everywhere the people asking for money. I mean, semi-official, official security people everywhere in Hargeisa and Berbera asking for money everywhere. Now it's rare. Okay, another reason, people use roads. Of course, there is no pedestrian passes and stuff. People walk on the road all the time, and they don't look at the cars. Okay, some people do, some people don't, but boys playing football is very typical. There are animals. I will show video in the end. If you go outside, outskirts of Berbera, there are camels quite often. There are lots of camels. Sometimes dead camels because by mistake we went to some obscure road and it was lots of dead camels. If you remember, so it's the children next door. There were lots of dead camels because there are thousands and thousands of camels waiting for departure to all these Arab countries near port, and some camels die and they just throw somewhere in next to one of the road. That was a little bit depressing view and a little bit smelly as well. Okay, using for mobile phones is forbidden, but it looks like nobody knows this rule. More than half of the traffic, I think, in Berbera are taxis, and they follow their own rules. So they don't follow lines. They drive either very fast, but usually very, very slow, like 10 kilometers per hour. Nobody knows speed restriction, I think, and even ChatGPT gave me contradictory information about speed restrictions here, so I still don't know the rules. But as I said, it's very safe. So if road is empty, you drive fast. If road is somebody plays football or you see people walking, because they never look the cars. Okay, my car is noisy, so they can hear that. So I slow down, etc., etc. So just like walking in the forest or something. Yeah, speed limit is unclear, as I said, and there is a formal speed limit, but for even formal speed limit, it's not very clear in the urban area whether it's 30 kilometers per hour or 30 miles per hour, and general limit. But there are special roads where you can drive faster because it's around the city. So yes. So what is this taxis and other people driving? And, so first they never signal when they turn. No culture. So they never look when they're joining the road, merging from other road. They never look who is driving on the main road or other road. When they do 90 degrees turn, they always take hypotenuse. They go straight on the outer line, on the outer lane, of course, rather than following their own lanes. Their own, because there is no marking, as I said. And if you drive the other way, you basically have to stop because you can see the car. So taxi drivers, I use taxis several times. I don't know much about that yet, but when I talk more to them, maybe I will tell more. They are mostly young boys. They got cars. I will show taxi, the typical taxi here. It's a very small car. Small, it's collective taxi, extremely cheap, as I already discussed in previous program. It's at least 20 times cheaper than in Cardiff, UK. For the same distance, they charge $1, not £20. In London, I think it's even more expensive. But they're okay. I mean, as I said, it's very safe. There's no culture. Nobody follows the rules, but it's very safe. Some other two things. Okay, seatbelt. Okay, it's mandatory, of course, but I didn't see people doing that, and police doesn't look at that. Not like in Cardiff. If they see you without seatbelt, then they try to put you to prison or something like that. Okay, at least penalize you. And that's not deficiency, just observation. Like in coffee shops, I already mentioned that 99% seems to be males. 99% of drivers, all taxi drivers, of course. Okay, all what I saw, I cannot guarantee, but I think all these couple of months I saw only two women drivers, and one of them was my wife. She drives occasionally. So, I mean, maybe that's one of the reasons of increasing safety on the road, because men understand men better than women. I don't know. No idea. No, not commenting on that. It's just observation. Okay, now I go to pictures. This picture already shown. There are a few cars like that. They are proud of Somaliland. I like that pictures. It's a picture from, I think, from the first program where I described the Somaliland. This Somaliland thing is. That's my car, our car. That's our house again. I already discussed car and house several times. That's a bus. Usually, I think there are school buses. I think they're yellow as well. There are a few buses, not many, like that. They usually take people to collect people and take them to work places which are maybe in the port or some outskirts of Berbera, some cement factory, or there is a big tuna factory, and they have the buses like that. Not many. This is a rubbish collection. People, the car collecting rubbish is not 100 years old. It's I don't know. In UK, we had this kind of cars about 15 years ago. 20, some yes, people, the workers are sitting on top. That's typical. If it is long distance, usually they walk. If it's in the town, this is slightly outskirts of the town. This is another car, which is some truck. This person is unhappy. He told me all that I was taking photo of him, but even he was driving reasonably fast. They don't like taking photos, these people. Some you need to ask permission and stuff. This is another car, not very nicely looking, but usually the trucks, this is not a truck. This is ambulance. Ambulance is looking perfectly normal. You can see this type of ambulances in European cities. It's a perfectly normal car. This is a taxi. Very, very typical. You go to any, basically in the street, and you wait 20 seconds and there will be another taxi passing. So there is no, when you order taxi, we try to order taxi, we call someone, he said, oh yeah, yes, I'm coming, and he comes about 40, 50 minutes later. But if you go to just outside your house anywhere in hard road, then the taxi almost guaranteed within half a minute there will be a taxi which will pick you up. That's another taxi and truck. Trucks are usually looking like this one, with some colors. That's the same truck with the back color. They're looking reasonably nice. I already, so maybe not many. That's a typical truck. So the trucks are looking quite pretty, quite most of them. I didn't believe that one. And that's a collective taxi which runs between Berbera, Hargeisa, Berbera, Burho, maybe some other towns. If you go to rural areas, it's usually Toyotas or some other 4x4 because it's a rough roads and stuff like that. So that's cost is $6.50. As I said, about 2.5 hours drive. Sometimes, yes, speed limits. These people, these taxi drivers on these roads, which they, for some reason, obscure. I don't understand the reason why ChatGPT calls it motorways, but it's not motorway. It's just a 2 lanes road. But they not many cars there, and they get to the speed of 180, 160 very easily, kilometers per hour. Okay, not in all parts of the roads, but in many parts of the roads, because there are some parts of the roads where you can drive reasonably, or have to drive reasonably slowly, especially they have lots of security posts. You slow down, show documents. They check if there are foreigners in the car. If there are foreigners, then they have some discussions, and depending on your direction of driving, if you drive towards Hargeisa, they hardly check that documents or make discussions. But if you go the further from Hargeisa you go, the more discussions you have to do with police, and the more explanations. Reaching Berbera is fine. You still may need to pay a little bit of money to police for passing through the security posts, but going from Berbera to Burho, which I did a couple of times, that is difficult, because that's you have to pay more money, and discussions, because it's closer to the border with Puntland, where there is a kind of war, more rural and more uncertain about civilization, so less civilization. That's another taxi and another normal car. That's many cars like that. This is not taxi, but it's just typical car, which private car. That's another truck with lots of load. This is another taxi. So the taxis, these collective taxis, they don't go from A to B. They can pick you up somewhere on the road or make some detour from the road. So if you go to Hargeisa, they can drop you in your hotel of your choice, or drop you in bus station, or drop you somewhere. They don't just take you from some particular point of destination. It's the same with picking up. So if picking up is not a detour, then this taxi driver is picking up that lady on a petrol station where I was photographing that. That's I think I just didn't delete that one. Or maybe I could, yes. Another taxi, same taxi, there is something on top. Yeah, that's a truck I already shown with heavy load. That's a nice petrol station where we were doing some service. That's the same one to show how high is that. And in the beginning, they were not happy that I was photographing them, because I don't know, somehow they think I'm a spy or something, because it was when I photograph cars on the road. That's a photo of some animals on the road. It happens not very often in the city. I think they go from that place, because that place where they keep animals, which I showed in video number 3, prepared to transportation to United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or somewhere like that. Some animals they can transport by cars, like sheep, I guess. Camels as well, I think. Because I haven't seen camels in Berbera Street, but these ones I saw the cows. And they take them to port, because port in that direction where they are going. From the direction of the territory where they keep the animals. So I will stop somewhere here. I will show you. We'll finish with these videos. My videos are still not very good quality. When I manage better quality, I will show you some pictures of some videos. I have to conclude that what I said concerns only Berbera, not even Berbera surroundings, which I will talk later, because I will be. I'm driving there, but it's different discussion. It's sandy roads and stuff like that, and different animals. Then the roads in Hargeisa and Burho are much worse than in Berbera. In Berbera, roads, I think, are nowadays incompatibly better. I'm still not in a position to properly compare that, but my first observation in Burho and Hargeisa, I was astonished how bad are the roads. In Berbera, I would say that roads are very good. Okay. So driving is bad, but roads are very good, and that's why I kind of like the driving. It's a nice driving, nice experience of driving in Berbera. So you will see a couple of videos. Thank you very much for staying with me, and come back to my channel and see more. Thank you.